See the tweet? Pretty nice.
What happened?
Yeah, that's nice.
Oh no, nothing. Just a a tweet.
Okay.
It's just so many
So lay it
social
on
medias
me.
to keep up. About
Yeah,
what?
yeah. We were
Everything.
about to start talking. You guys got any food and drink by any chance?
I have food.
I
Please.
have both.
Oh my God! Thank God. Been a very busy day.
Now that I'm done doing my hunger strike, you know, I'm pretty full, so I don't need all that. Okay, so what do you want me to go over, like everything that led up to what happened?
Yeah, so I spoke to Faulkner. I understand his side of things. I'd like to understand your side of things.
Yeah.
It's good, even though it's not something that like directly relates to what I oversee. Obviously, you know, people are going to want my opinion, and I'd rather be educated rather than hear it from third parties. You know what I mean?
Okay. I'm going to do this in the most fair and balanced way that I possibly can. Obviously, I do have my own biases and my own, you know, dog in the fight, so to speak. You know, I did do some dog fighting for a little while, so that's just a little reference to that. But anyways, okay, so what was it? About a month ago, I think on the 31st of January, they pushed forward that legislation one day after I contested the previous iteration of the DOC legislation. I like audited it. I paid $50,000 to Murray, and I said I want to audit this legislation because it had been changed to where the marshals had ultimate authority, like in September, and I just wanted to audit it to make sure that it was constitutional and see if this was like all kosher. The next day, they pushed forward updated legislation, which, I mean, that was kind of the main thing, was it was hammering on the ultimate authority thing. So it kind of, look, it is what it is. I know it's a state property, and I was willing to like meet with them in the middle a little bit. But this new version of the legislation has ultimate authority. What is it? 5 times, Quentin?
5 to be exact.
Yeah.
Ultimate authority.
It's funny
it
you
should-
say that because Maeve actually pointed that out.
It felt ham-fisted a little bit, right? Like a little, like,
Yeah.
we get it. You don't need to oversell it. But at that point, on the first iteration of this legislation, I had already paid for the audit. And so we collected signatures. What was it, 53 signatures, Quentin?
Yes.
We collected 53 signatures to contest the new legislation.
Yes, we did.
But because of the confusion with the audit, they said, well, just pull back your contest, and we'll just have a discussion about it and maybe get you looped in with the marshals and us, and we can kind of work through everything. That meeting never happened.
Okay.
I did give them like a couple bullet points on the new legislation that weren't great, but we never really had a sit down or anything. And then they just pushed that legislation through again. What was it, 5 days ago, 4 days ago? Didn't warn, didn't say anything. And so I didn't see it for the first day. The second day I started like mulling over it. And then the last day I like noticed a bunch of really big holes where we're not able to reduce sentences anymore. Prisoners are able to sue civilly and criminally now. Telecommunications not restricted. So taking their phones, which we had because of all the bad stuff that had been happening, that's not allowed.
Yeah.
Also, we're not able to do our own internal process for filing grievances. It's just like a bunch of stuff that really changes our job, right? And so
Okay.
I posted on the docket my concerns, basically, hey guys, can you just think about this before you push it forward? Because I thought, you know, since we didn't have the conversation, I'd just do it that way. One of the justices reached out to me and said, are you contesting it? Or, because this feels like an email. And I said, oh, okay, I think they want me to contest it then. So yeah, I'm contesting it. That's when I reached out to Quentin and said, look, I'm willing to pay the $250,000. I got the money ready to go. But if we're able to get the signatures, there's no need to pay $250,000.
I want that to save him some money on this stupid thing they're doing.
Try to save a little.
That was weird. I heard a door close and pull up. Anyways.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. Oh, that was the door close. You know, the DOJ closing the door on us. Sorry.
Okay, well, look, it doesn't need to be that confrontational. Look, but so Quentin updated the dates on those signatures, which
listen, I was just going through them and I figured, oh, I put today's date. Now listen, There were 53
You
of
did
them.
throw with that.
Yeah, it was kind of a little bit of a throw.
Okay,
I did.
well, let me
I
ask
was.
you this. The legislation of a brand new draft they've put up as a signature of an old justice, Larry Hollow, that Arcadia admitted to me she fired a month ago, but also
Yeah,
Murray said
they
he
had a wrong
resigned, so they have
signature.
Two wrongs
conflicting
don't make a
stories in
right,
the
but
DOJ.
yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
It just, they came at me so hard for that, and I explained my position. These signatures were all gotten in person, by the way, even with Rico before that happened, for the first iteration of this
It was
same
the same
legislation. It was the
legislation. Yeah, it's the
same one,
same.
Nino.
Yeah.
I did that over weeks. And then they come, they hit us with the, the contest period. We had 2 hours. I was like, okay, I'm going to get some fresh ones, new ones today to close out the 53. I made a bunch of calls. They called Bruce Baylor, who's one of the people who signed on that day. And they were like, Barrett did. It was Barrett. He was like telling Bruce about the other invalid signatures while trying to validate his signature. He didn't even call him to validate the signature. He was just calling him to say, the other signatures are invalid. Are you sure you signed? And Bruce was like, yes, I did. They said everyone they called, it was invalid. And Bruce calls me to say that he got spoken to by Barrett, and he lied blatantly. They don't
Yeah.
care. They
Okay.
don't care. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest.
Okay. Look. Obviously there's like some problems in the marshals. I mean, they lied about Gary and just straight to my face about him claiming he had justice approval for something that he never claimed that he had justice approval for. And like, I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff that they've done that's a little bit undercutting. I mean, one of the marshals sent me a fake subpoena just to scare me one time. So it's like stuff like that. And when I got them breathing down my neck as ultimate authority 5x in a legislation, it just, I can't go by them saying we're not going to big dick you, because they have and they will and they can. And so I just wanted at least some written assurance, right? And then basically we were kind of doing like a malicious compliance thing with the new legislation, and the marshals came in and were real a-holes to us yesterday.
They
What
threatened to send me 42 just because I asked them for authorization to uncuff a suspected individual who was outside of the prison. Like
Yeah,
they came in, they were like, "Oh, no. We're working together. We're sister department. We never want to, be your authority, this and that, even though it's written in." And they just completely slammed their dick on us. Like
Well,
they
and
opened the gates, bam,
before
they whipped that shit on.
right before that, Barrett did call me and say that if I had anything to do with Seamus being kidnapped and taken to the lighthouse, that he was going to dismantle the entire DOC. So it's like, I don't know. It's like threats like that and stuff that just does not feel like a sister department. It feels like a big bro telling you how you need to be if you want to hang out with his friends. So
By the way, they told us to get our department and our prison in order when it's literally their prison now. That is the craziest statement that they could have ever made, Nino.
yeah, look, emotions are obviously high on this whole thing. And a big part of it too was I feel like things have been kind of negative for a while for the prison, right? Like in terms of positives, I mean, we got like a budget to pay for car repairs, and we got a helicopter that I got to beg a police officer to let me up and take out and give me keys to. And then I can only fly it here and then fly it right back. We don't have any jurisdiction outside of the prison. We get stabbed, like once an hour? We get paid just basically peanuts. It's just, there's a certain point where all of that is fine. But then to have somebody else who's just breathing down your neck the whole time, telling you that you're a fuck up, which I am fully willing to admit that there have been missteps and misguided decisions within the department. I am fine with that. I've made mistakes. I will admit that. And there are things that I wish I could go back and change, but I have tried and I have not been corrupt. And for them to try desperately to paint me as somebody who has been corrupt, it's just mean. It's mean for no reason.
Yeah, your 50 fucking thousand pages of SOPs are corrupt. They're going to pay you for everything. And I'll tell you this, I just want to let you both know now, according to that, I just got back from town hall where I was speaking to a judge, and the judge himself told me, he's like, I do not know why the DOJ has anything to do with you guys. They put somebody in place to take care of a department and do the job. We're literally, it's like a leashed dog. Like I don't know if anybody else sees that, but holy shit! Like, are we? People are happy with our work, like beyond outside the prison.
I know.
And
Yeah.
the fact that they were like, you know what, we're gonna drive them to the point of just leaving. Oh, okay. With their leniencies they gave us, okay, we're just letting you. It's a sandbox to run around and do what you want. And Scotty's doing all this.
Well, I
And
will
what?
say
And what?
the whole plague thing,
Sorry.
the prison's like a rat infested hellhole. And I had to beg to be a part of any of those meetings. And they acted like they were doing me the biggest favor, letting me just like tag along to know about like an actual thing that affects our health and safety in the prison. It just like, I don't know. We felt like guests in our own home. At least I did. And I don't know. Eventually enough is enough. But look, here's the deal. I I don't think this is as bad of a thing as people think I think it is. Gary is the warden now, and I think it's good to have new blood. I think it's good to let somebody else take the reins and see what they can do with it. Because who knows? I mean, maybe he works things out and sorts everything. Because he apparently talked to the justices today, and they apologized to him. So I don't know. It just maybe things are
Apologize to who?
to Gary.
Oh, yeah.
So
give it
not
a
to
few
me,
days.
but to Gary.
That will change.
Why to Gary? I'm
Yes, they
confused.
are.
Where does?
Well, Gary's the warden of the prison now. The interim
Why
warden.
would
That's what-
I don't get it though?
I guess for the way that things have been with the DOC. So maybe it's just kind of like to hold on to him or something. I don't know.
They're
kinda crazy
sucking
for
up
him
to
to
him.
tell
They
me that.
apologize to him, is what he's saying. So he stays. You know, he doesn't join us and leave because he's the warden now.
Yeah.
So.
Fuck.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Well, I think you screwed the pooch twice. I think you've taken the unfortunate. Right, what happened to you is what they tried to do to me a long time ago. By attempting to usurp power. And then using legislation to skip investigations and due process. And similar to how I gave a lot of room for them to breathe and try to correct themselves, luckily, I eventually got fed up, contested their legislation, which caused them all to quit. The old DOJ.
Oh yeah, they got real upset. Over
They got
even
upset.
the thought
I
of contesting.
contesting. And it turned into accusations like, I called the governor, or I did this. No, we contested, as is our right. And that's it.
Yeah.
Now, where y'all went wrong, in my opinion, is when you first, a month ago when we stood over there, and they skipped your contest period, is that you made the unfortunate mistake. And I recognize why, right? Because I think most of us are going to operate under the notion of like, hey, they can't be that bad, right? They'll work with us. Is that when you were first put in the contestation and you were not legally, did not have your legal right to a contest, and instead they made up their own rules of, hey, well, we're already working on a new document, so fuck you, is that's when you should have put your foot down.
Well, Nino, they just paid me my $50,000 for my audit yesterday.
What do you mean?
Remember, I audited the initial legislation that all of this was replacing. I paid $50,000.
Yeah, that's crazy,
and they
right?
skipped that to push forward the new legislation and said, "Oh, we'll just talk about it and we'll give you that money back." And they didn't give it back until yesterday.
That's illegal. So, time to impeach.
Here's where I'm at.
You don't want to do it.
To need no. I am on a 4-day apology cooldown. If these people don't come to me direct and say, "My bad," oh, I'm going for all of them. Oh, I'm going for every single one of them.
No,
I
don't go for all of them. Because then
maybe not
you
all
have
of them. Yeah,
to.
because I don't want to screw the whole thing up. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I sure. Maybe that is
Why not,
something.
though?
Well, the problem is that these guys, as has happened in the past, is to lean on the fact that the governor is probably not going to wake up, because who the fuck wants to deal with that?
Right.
But the side effect is that they're all going to have each other's back because our justice system is fucked. They work as a block and not as individuals.
Yeah. You know, I was interim warden. I was never warden. And I feel like that was just kind of, I should have taken that a little bit more to heart, that I don't think that I was trusted in that position to begin with. So I don't know why I was expecting them to work with me through all of this. So yeah, look, I'm gonna be honest, like they're on a cooldown right now. They're gonna have to make amends on this big time, because they want to fight with me the whole legal way. I will do that right back to them.
One could argue, why did the marshals attempt to verify?
Why would the marshals attempt to verify by muddying the water with the witness and telling them about other, like, you don't taint a person by saying, oh, this other person lied.
Because the DOJ is fucking brain dead. They don't realize that by them leaning on the marshals for this, they don't know where their job is the problem.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're acting as a function of law enforcement. And that includes when they became temporary marshals and tried to take over the prison back. Because by then they throw away they become non-neutral. Every action makes them effectively non-neutral when they start doing this. That includes when you went to go contest and you did the verification. They need to do that internal to just the justices.
Yeah.
If they start to sling it outward, now all of a sudden they're tainting. Right?
I just wish I had paid the $250,000.
That's why there's a director, right? And the director should be self-sufficient with everything with him and the marshals, right? It should not be working on behest of the, I don't know. Yeah. Well,
I will say that Arcadia told me the reason that they were pushing so hard on this legislation is basically it splits Weiss off from being the director of
that is
marshal.
True, but
that's not, I don't feel like that's a priority over taking away all of the things that the prison had.
Well, no, it's a mix of things, right? I agree that I think part of that is an excuse. At the end of the day, you cannot shoot down our democratic process because something feels like it's important.
Yeah.
And so the moment you are not given the ability to contest and it was circumvented, that's a breaking of your rights to contest. And if the DOJ does it once, it's now a slippery slope, right? I can feel like something is extremely important. That doesn't mean that I get to circumvent law. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It makes sense. I don't know. I wanted really bad to work with the marshals and everything, but Cassie Carlisle escaped from the prison about a week ago, and I had begged the marshal. About a week ago. Yeah, about a week ago, and I have been begging for us to get deputized because I spoke with a marshal and said, "Hey, can we get some information on, her whereabouts or anything from your investigation just so that we're up to speed on it?" And I was told, no, because it's an ongoing investigation and you're not deputized. And I asked to be deputized and I was told, oh, we'll look into it. But she's just out there doing hood rat shit with her friends. And like the warden doesn't get to know about a prisoner that's escaped at all.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Cassie Carlisle's just out there on the loose, and they told me we might get deputized on Sunday. It is now Thursday, and they still haven't done any deputizing.
Well, I don't know about the deputizing thing, but...
Well, they did that in the past when Matthew Colby escaped, and honestly, all of the information on that...
That's a very different topic, I think.
Yeah. Look, I understand that might be like a controversial thing just with the DOC and some of like the.
By the way, the DOC.
I'm a
performed
strong
very well
opinion
with
that you guys operating outside of Bolingbrook is fucking dumb as shit. So
I agree, unless it's a prisoner. I feel like extending the jurisdiction of a prisoner. I feel like
I'll tell you why,
crazy.
and you may not see this, and I want to explain it, the why, so you don't get my point.
Okay.
The police department is in the most dog shit state I've ever seen it in my time in Los Santos for the last like 25 years. Never have I seen it this dog shit. DOJ is even worse. To then exacerbate the issue by having DOC operate as law enforcement outside of the confines of Bolingbrook without any experience on the streets is a recipe for disaster. Even if you could have the best intentions, right? There's going to be things that you're going to unknowingly do that is going to completely cook the case, right?
Yeah.
Like something as simple as, hey, stop right there, when you weren't allowed to say that. Now all of a sudden, Ribbozo.
And I know you're probably going to say two wrongs don't make a right here, but during that time when I was suspended, the police negotiated for the release of 2 prisoners from the prison while I was gone. And look, the police have done all kinds of stuff.
They can't do that. They can't do that. That's not their right.
They did do that.
I get it, but they should have been impeached.
Yeah. Well, that's not how.
Look,
Has
but I'm
anybody
just saying,
even been impeached?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that. Yeah.
Yes, they are in your custody. They cannot supersede your custody. They have no custody of those people.
While I was suspended. So, and then when they got Matthew Colby, the marshals just threw him in the prison without telling DOC. Didn't cuff him. Didn't like hand him over. And so Matthew just got a phone within like 30 seconds and was just like running around after being out for like a week and a half, trying to plot his next escape.
And by the way, the fact that we can't help him, sure, forget the deputization. By any sense, when it's our lifer, like we know so much more about that than them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was told that all the information about Cassie was given by DOC, which, by the way, I know exactly who's harboring her. But I mean, like, like, what's the point in talking to somebody about it? Because it's just gonna like.
We know who she's with. It's just but good luck to them. It's theirs. We can't do anything. We won't do anything.
Yeah, it's
and
like
we're
very
gone anyway.
on there.
We are gone anyway. Who gives a fuck? Who cares anymore?
I gave the location of Matt 5 times to the police, and they showed up one of those 5 times. One time, he left a bullet and said the next one's for you, and then drove by on a motorcycle. So, I don't know. Look, I get what you're saying, though. I know that like extending the jurisdiction is just like a recipe for disaster. I understand that. I think the overarching thing, though, is it was just too much breathing down the neck of me and my people, and I personally, I don't know.
Yeah, this is
time for a change.
I wish DLC was separated. I'm sorry that this is happening. I think all of this is bad. I think a lot of this started the moment you got the changes happened over this. DOJ doesn't know what they're doing, and they fucked it up before these justices even got into play. Yeah, the marshals always had the right to investigate corruption in the DOC.
And
legislation didn't need to change.
I was always fine with them having their constitutionally mandated right to provide oversight. But it's when you get into like the authority and then taking that as like, oh, we're just boss you around.
That's the problem. Is we entered into this idea, and I've dealt with this for 7 months, is instead of doing it the right way, it gets done via legislative change. We're also dealing with that today, where DOJ randomly on their own accord, based on rumor and hearsay from law enforcement, made a bunch of things illegal and then said, not a problem. We're talking to people and trying to fix it. That's why due process exists. If justices do not understand due process and basic civics, you end up with a fucked system. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Justices should not have, you name your director, you don't fucking touch the marshals. You don't fucking deputize yourself. You don't find it your own personal responsibility over the correctional facility working well. You can't. It doesn't work.
The day I got suspended, the DOJ marshalizing themselves and coming here with tanks like an hour after I wasn't around to stop something like that. I don't know. I wanted to make something of that, but I was in a weird spot being suspended and trying to beg to get interrogated to get unsuspended. That oh man, you try to do the right thing.
They want to get rid of us and push us out and push us away by doing what they're doing. Meanwhile, we're the excuse for them to pull out their tanks and have their fun and blow up Tower A and fight these criminals that they felt so badass. But no, fuck all that.
That's the problem. There is no a lot of them. I sat in a meeting last week and they told me, well, Nino, we have to do it this way because everyone's a felon. So what if, and I'm like, you're a judge, you dumb motherfucker. If you're sitting here and you're like, the entire city's felons, how are you a fucking justice? Someone needs to take a gun, put it in your mouth, aim for the head, and pull the trigger. Because you know what I call that? I call that tyranny.
Well, okay. The craziest thing was yesterday when I was talking to everybody explaining the new legislation, and I told everybody hold off on reducing sentences because that's not in the legislation anymore. Princess Elena said that she talked to the DOJ about it, and they said, just don't get caught. From a justice, don't get caught?
That's crazy.
That's the response?
That's crazy.
And the problem is they're inexperienced, right? Most of them have not even practiced law, let alone their judge positions for long enough to know what the fuck they're doing. That's the real issue. And when the pressure came, their first reaction was to cuddle up next to law enforcement, which is not it. That's pretty yikes.
Yeah. Well, c'est la vie. What are you going to do?
Yeah, they're Emperor Palpatine and they have unlimited power. Oh, yeah.
They don't. And that's why you need to impeach.
How far would that go? Realistically.
Unless you try it. Unless it's your way of challenging things. Right? So now that's balls in your court. It's not hard to do.
I mean, I've been threatened with an authority conduct review by every single goddamn one of these people. So I feel like, I don't know. Maybe I flip over a rock and see if I see any bugs.
Yep. Where is Princess in all this?
Well, she's we hired her as DOC, as a cadet when she got expunged.
I'm asking mostly because, like, is she working as a function of DOC or the Blaine County or
both
on behalf of the DOJ? It gets confusing. Like, I don't know what
so
her...
there's a lot of
it becomes an agenda.
Communication.
I don't think, personally, never mind. I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, look, I'm going to be honest. I was a little, like, iffy on it, but, I mean, the justices were fine with it, so I was like, okay, well,
justices don't matter. It's brain dead to mix two branches of government. It's not about who's nice and who's not nice and how do I trust. It's optics and it's what is it called? It's a conflict of interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah,
because you have to make a decision ultimately and share opinion, and if you're conflicted on two sides, it can lead. You know what I mean? It doesn't. You could be the nicest person in the world, and it's bad.
Well, I mean, we ran into that where she was, I think, held at gunpoint or whatever, and did that state announcement, and they took her DOC keys before even putting anything on the docket or, addressing it at all. And so it's just like, yeah, it kind of gets a little squishy. So I mean, I get you, but not my problem, not my deal.
True, fair enough. Well, gentlemen, I wish you the best. I am, for what it's worth, on the side of free speech and the democratic process. And right now you have and wield the ability. I do think there is some like valid concerns that the DOJ has and the marshals have. But for me, everything lands squarely on things still need to be done the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not getting any disagreement from me.
Yeah. So, all right.
So we get a
else?
lawyer and start impeaching?
Yes, 100%.
All right. We'll speak to Robin.
Okay.
Well, thanks for chatting with us, Nino.
Scotty.
Anytime. Don't get lazy on that. I'm telling you, it's the way to do it.
I won't. Trust me. I love doing paperwork.
I'll call you later, Nino.
Take care.